Hi, greetings. My name is Scott Angle. I'm the Vice President for IFAS at the University of Florida. I have been here only a couple months, so I'm still getting to know the state, but today it's my pleasure to welcome you to the Gulf Coast Research and Education Center Virtual Field Day. Of course, we all would prefer that we are doing this in person, but because of the pandemic, that's not possible. I do hope that next time around we will be able to meet you all in person and get you to the facility to see our work firsthand. Agriculture in Florida is an amazing business. Right now, it's the largest industry in the state because the tourists are not here. We do expect it to drop back to number 2 in the state for economic activity, but it's still a very, very large industry that has a tremendous impact on everyone in the state. So whether you're a traditional farmer in the middle of the state, or a forester in the panhandle, or someone managing natural resources or fisheries on the coast, you all contribute to the livelihood and the betterment of this great state. And so I want to thank you all for doing what you do, but also thanking you for being with us today to learn more about what goes on at the Gulf Coast REC. I have a number of things as a relatively new vice president for IFAS that I would like to see done. First of all, it's to do no harm. Agriculture and forestry and fisheries, natural resources is a great industry, and I've said, and we want to keep that momentum moving forward. So I've got a number of initiatives that I have identified that will be important to the state or that others have told me that are important to the state. I work closely with the Florida Farm Bureau, many of our commodity and grower groups, and so I've been assimilating all of the needs and all of the challenges that we have in this state, and I'm trying to make sure that IFAS and CALS, our College of Agriculture, are responsive to your needs. Ultimately, we work for you. We are paid by the taxpayers of the state of Florida, and so we need to be relevant and impactful to all the things that are important to you. So let me very quickly go through a couple of the things that are on my plate right now, and you're going to be hearing more about from IFAS and from our agricultural leaders in the state over the next year or so. The first would be artificial intelligence. There's no doubt that artificial intelligence, as applied to agriculture, lags other industries, whether it's a banking industry, even journalism, aircraft, automobile manufacturing. They are deeply engaged with artificial intelligence. We are just now starting to scratch the surface for AI and how it can be deployed in agriculture. University of Florida ranks number 6 right now for public universities. The goal is to be in the top 5. I think that's going to happen very, very quickly. But the vehicle to get University of Florida into the top 5 will be artificial intelligence. The university is committed to hiring 100 faculty to help deploy artificial intelligence into our industries, agriculture and forestry being one of them. I have either purchased or we've had donated the fastest supercomputer at any university in the world that is able to handle artificial intelligence and the interpretations that come along with it. And so we have everything we need right now to become the world's leader in agricultural AI. And so, as I said, you're going to be seeing more about this, but the reason why I'm so excited about AI is it's the great playing field leveler. Right now, some of the biggest industries are able to access information and then make sense of all that information. A small producer, even a mid-sized producer in agriculture, can't do that. But once you have AI connected to your iPhone, you'll be able to ask questions. The AI will sift through volumes of data and provide you with state-of-the-art recommendations that up until that time was only available to the largest businesses that had the wherewithal to do those types of things. So you're going to be hearing and seeing a lot more about artificial intelligence, including on the Gulf Coast Research and Education Center. Another thing that I've been passionate about, I want to make sure that every one of our students in IFAS and in the College of Agriculture and Life Sciences has an opportunity for a significant out-of-classroom experience. You don't learn everything you need to know in the classroom. It comes from job training, it comes from summer internships, it can come from a study abroad. You can work for a congressperson in Washington, D.C. or Tallahassee. You may learn as much as you do going through a more traditional classroom experience. we have a lot of our students take advantage of those opportunities, but not all of them do. And when I talk to students about why not, they often tell me that it's a financial issue. They need to go home in the summer and work, or they have to go back to the farm and help their parents out. So it's a financial limitation. I want to make sure that no student will ever say again that the reason why they didn't have one of these important learning opportunities outside the classroom is because money held them back. So we're in a fundraising campaign right now to make sure that we have enough support for our students to do that. I'm the first and the largest donor to all of that. But I also want to challenge all of you. We're glad to have you support this program, but more importantly, we hope that you will reach out to us, offer internships to our students, get them on your farms, get them into your businesses, get them into your agencies that are helping put all the pieces of agriculture and forestry together. It's a great way to look at potential employees for the future. You'll find that our students they're just amazing young people. They bring not only great expertise, but probably just as much great passion and enthusiasm to your business. And I can guarantee you're going to like working with them. So please reach out to us. We would love to place our students in some of your businesses. Citrus, saving citrus, is one that I knew about long before I arrived in Florida. While I was leading our National Research Program in Agriculture for NIFA at the USDA, it was probably the front and center issue for the things that I was hearing, even on a national scale. So it's not just Florida; it's many of the Gulf Coast states. And citrus greening, the disease that is causing all these problems, is now even in California. So this is a national issue. But for Florida, it's an industry that we can't lose. It's an iconic crop for the state. A lot of our identity is wrapped up in citrus, and so to lose something that is so important to us, I think, would be devastating, not just for the economy and not just for the farmers that lose that, but for the overall kind of psyche of the state of Florida. So we're all in on this one. We are doing everything we can to find ways that hopefully someday will cure the disease, but until that time, to manage the disease so that we can help farmers and citrus producers stay in business, hopefully long enough that we can ultimately find that cure to make sure that we never have to have this happen again. I think probably a lot of you are aware of just how much of our citrus production we have lost, and we're on a very dangerous slope right now. And I want to do everything I can, and this will be one of my highest priorities, to make sure that we can try to turn that around. Well, we have lost citrus in the state. I don't think anyone can deny that. When you look at whether it's production or acres, it's absolutely true. So we're on a quest to also find and look for alternative crops that could help farmers replace citrus or replace other crops someday. One of the things we can do in IFAS is we can absorb a lot of risk. If you're a producer or a farmer, you can't take a lot of risk because that is your paycheck. That's how you support your family. We can do that in IFAS. We can take risk. We can try things that, if they fail, it's too bad, but then we just move on to something else. And we can try a lot of things. And if 9 out of 10 fail, we're not happy about it, but that's okay, because if that 1 out of 10 actually works, then that'll have tremendous impact on a lot of you, and you may have a new crop to grow on your farm. So we're looking at all kinds of cool things. In the homestead, we're growing vanilla right now, which it'll be limited to tropical regions of the state, obviously, but I think there are great opportunities because it's such a large market, and we have some very unique advantages in the homestead area to grow vanilla. We're looking at hops for beer. A lot of our breweries around the state all advertise that they use local ingredients to produce beer. But frankly, when you read the label, not many of them are actually doing that, because a lot of those materials that are used to produce beer are simply not available in Florida. So we found a way to grow hops in the state of Florida. It's a little complicated, but There again, this is a high-value crop that we think will have some real opportunities and probably will find some important local markets. We're looking at all kinds of tropical fruits, things that some of which I've never heard of before, and you may never have heard of before. But we're testing out whether or not they can grow here, and if they do, what are the pests and what are the things that we need to control to make sure that the quality of the product is good and the yields are adequate. So whether it's blackberries or sweet potatoes or even hemp, we're looking at all these materials, and some of them are going to find their way into production. Not all of them are going to work, and I'm not smart enough to know which ones will and which ones weren't. But we will continue to try, and we will absorb that risk for you so that when we transfer a new crop or new technology to you, it's pretty well likely to succeed. Something that, from a student and training perspective, that is particularly important to me and for the University of Florida and IFAS is diversity and inclusion. It's no history, and I don't think any one of us should run away from the fact that our industries are not as diverse as they should be. There's history here. It is what it is. But that becomes a challenge for us. What can we do to make sure that the good jobs that we have in agriculture and forestry and natural resources, the good paying jobs, the good paychecks, how can we make sure that everyone thinks about those as a career? We don't train enough people in Florida to take all the jobs that we have. We have to bring people from out of state or from other industries to work in agriculture and forestry and fisheries and natural resources. So we need to make sure that everyone thinks about agriculture, thinks about forestry as a future career, and doesn't really see it from the historical perspective, but really thinks about it from the future. What are those great jobs? These are jobs where you can feel good about. Obviously, we're feeding the world, but you're making money at the same time. So we're looking at ways, and I would challenge you, and I would hopefully work with us to find ways that we can include more diversity in the training that we are doing now, so that ultimately, when you go to hire new people, you'll have more opportunities for hiring people who frankly look a little different from at least me. The last thing I want to mention is our BMP issue, our best management practices, soil test recommendations, fertilizer recommendations. I've had the opportunity to travel extensively around the state, and I've heard from many of you, many farmers, tomato farmers in Immokalee, potato farmers up in the northeastern part of the state, that some of our soil test recommendations are not appropriate, that if you follow them, what you have told me is that you can't make the production and the yields will be inadequate and you won't be able to stay in business. And if you follow the guidelines that come out of Senate Bill 712 and follow the recommendations of IFAS, at least where they are not appropriate, you can be fined or even worse. So we've placed some of our farmers really in a very difficult position. Some of our recommendations are perfect. They're spot on, but we know some of them aren't. The problem is we don't know which ones are right and which ones are wrong. And so we have embarked on a program, and we're working with many people in state government, the Farm Bureau, and the fruit and vegetable growers are deeply involved in this to make sure that IFAS recommendations that you are required to follow are the best that they can be, and that we can stand up and stand behind them and say, if you follow our recommendations, you will protect the environment. At the same time, you will have yields that will allow you to stay in business and make a decent living for you and your family. So that's something you're also going to be hearing a lot about. We've initiated a number of studies already, and none of these are fast. They're going to take probably 3 years, and if we have a hurricane and it wipes out one of our sites, maybe more than 3 years before we can feel confident that we have a plethora of good recommendations embedded into Bill 712. But we are working on it, and I would like to hear from all of you if you know of problems, and if you know of areas where you think we need to make changes. Please let me know. Let any of the center directors know. Let your extension agent know, because our job is to support you. Again, you pay our salaries. We are civil servants, and we take that very seriously. Our job is to help you stay in business, to remain profitable, and have good lives and take care of your families. So thank you all for being here today. I hope you get a lot out of the virtual field day. It's a little different for us. It's a bit of an experiment, but it's the best we can do right now. And I want to congratulate, lastly, all of our staff at the Gulf Coast REC. We've got great leadership. We've got great staff. We've got amazing faculty there. So these are some of the best, not just in the country, but in the world. And so you're really privileged to have such a great group of people supporting you and supporting your success. So enjoy the day and let us hear back from you. Thank you.